Welcome to Beth's Happy Home. I've been thinking lately about preparing for long-term emergencies by storing fuel, and I haven't been able to reconcile myself to storing a lot of gasoline. We do have a generator, but you'd have to store a lot of gasoline to be able to run it for any lengthy period of time. The main thing that we need energy for is cooking. And so propane seems to be the answer. It comes in a sealed container. It can be transferred from a large container into a smaller container like this bottle right here that I'm going to demonstrate today. And it's relatively inexpensive. It's approximately the same cost as gasoline right now. So the question becomes, how much propane do I need to store? And so that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. I'm just going to show you how much propane it takes to cook different foods, but including some ripe tomatoes that I crushed up in there. To that, I'm going to add pinto beans that I soaked overnight. So they started out as 1 cup of pinto beans. Now they're about 2.5 cups because they were soaked. This is 1 ounce of dried onion flakes and 4.5 ounces of this dry dehydrated pork. And so it's shredded pork, and we'll drop that in there. Okay, this operates. I'm going to turn it around. I've attached this propane bottle, and the way I'm going to know how much I used, I weighed the bottle before I attached it, and so I'll weigh it after and we'll know how much we used. I can check it every few minutes and see when the beans are tender. Everything else should be done before the beans, but the beans are the ones that'll take the longest. But I wanted to show you another way of using propane that you may or may not have seen. If you're a backpacker, you're very familiar with this, but this is a plain 1 pound propane bottle. This is a little stand that I bought separately. It has this nifty little feature that it has these little feet that fan out like this so that you get a really stable holder for the propane, because this becomes the stove itself. This little plastic lid pops off. Now, I was actually filming already when I wanted to show you how this little pocket stove or rocket stove, it's made for backpacking mostly, works, and I went to screw it on and realized that the nozzle doesn't fit. Now, you're going to think I'm stupid if you're a seasoned backpacker, but I didn't realize it. But this is the kind of fuel that these little stoves are made for, a butane propane mix, and the butane makes it a little hotter, I think. Anyway, so I had to get an adapter for this, and this little adapter adapts it down from this skinny nozzle that goes on the butane propane mix to one that will fit propane. And so I'm going to screw this adapter on, and then you just screw this into the propane bottle. You need to put a little bit of pressure on there because there's a valve that you need to penetrate. Can't quite get it down. Okay, and then these little fins right here fan out to create the little burner support. Then this is the little valve that opens it up. When you hear it hiss, you push this red button, and that's the igniter. So we'll turn it on. It doesn't work very well. Okay, I couldn't get the igniter that's part of this stove to work, and it might be because it's designed to be used with butane, and the propane may not light quite as readily. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the flame, and then open it up. Okay. There we go. All right. right, I'm going for this recipe, and go ahead and put my pot way up there. Obviously this is going to have to be, I'm going to have to be really careful because this is a heavy pot and it's kind of standing up high. I'm going to add 4 cups of water. I'm going to add 1 cup of lentils, red lentils, 1 ounce of dried onions, and 4.5 ounces of chopped ham. The ham should be salty enough for this dish. I'm thinking it'll make 4 servings of a kind of a lentil stew, ham and lentil stew. Lentils don't take nearly as long to cook as beans do. So I am going to just give them a little bit of a stir. And put the lid on and time it. So on this setup, the lentils took a full 20 minutes from start to finish to be completely tender, ready to eat. The chili, on the other hand, that was on this one, that had those beans that had soaked, but they started with dry beans, took a full 80 minutes to get tender enough to be the right consistency. The yield on the chili was 4 good-sized servings, reasonable servings, and on the lentils it was 3 servings, and both recipes actually taste really good. Not really relevant to the purpose of this, but now I'll take this little adapter off of this propane bottle. By the way, the setup with this bottle where it was really high was very far from ideal. It was quite dangerous to do it that way. So it's fine for camping, and I would have used a smaller pot or a camping pot that was intended to be used with that little type of a stove. Anyway, this bottle started out weighing 29.50, and now after 20 minutes of cooking, it weighs 28.40. So just a little bit more than an ounce of propane to cook a meal that would feed 3 people fairly well. And this one, this bottle is very cold. That's interesting. There it is. This one started out weighing 23.40. And it now weighs 18.99, a little less than 3.5 ounces of propane to cook those beans and the rest of the chili for 90 minutes. One last one I'm going to do is I'm going to boil 2 cups of water, and we'll see how long it takes to get that water to boil. Alright, it took 1.5 minutes to bring this up to a boil. So I have unlocked my fuel, and to boil water, 2 cups of water, I used 0.33 of an ounce to boil water. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will keep on experimenting with this. Thanks for watching.